Every morning when you open your eyes, you're gifted something far more powerful than most people realize. A fresh page. A new start. And yet, most people wake up already carrying the weight of yesterday. They replay mistakes, regrets, conversations, or moments they wish had gone differently. But what they fail to understand is that the past has no power unless you invite it into your present. You don't have to be who you were yesterday. You don't have to relive what already happened. Each day is a reset button, and the moment you wake up, you're holding the pen again. That's why it's so important to begin every single morning with the quiet but powerful affirmation. I am the author of my story. You are not just some character in someone else's script. You are not here to be a passive participant in your own life. You are not stuck. You are not trapped. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you respond. And when you tell yourself, I am the author, you take back control. You no longer sit and wait for someone to rescue you. You realize you are the one you've been waiting for. And like any great author, you must first know how to let go of chapters that no longer serve the story. Sometimes we keep rereading the same emotional pages of guilt, fear, comparison, or shame, thinking they will somehow help us. But they don't. They slow us down. They blur our clarity. They distort the truth of who we are. You must learn to close those chapters with grace. You can acknowledge them. You can learn from them. But you don't have to keep writing them again and again. What you tell yourself in the first few minutes of your day is not just self-talk. It's a creative act. It sets the vibration of your actions. It sets the tone of your focus. It shapes your perception. If you wake up telling yourself you're tired, unmotivated, broken, or behind, guess what? That becomes your story. That becomes your filter. But if you wake up and say, this is my story, and I'm choosing strength, clarity, and presence, then you become the kind of person who walks into the world with intention rather than insecurity. Even when life feels chaotic or uncertain, remember this. Authors don't need perfect conditions to write powerful stories. The storm outside does not dictate the creativity within. Some of the most profound breakthroughs are born from moments of struggle, of silence, of solitude. Don't fear the unknown. Use it. Write from it. Let it reveal a deeper layer of yourself. You're not here to copy someone else's script. You're here to live your truth, your lesson, your transformation. Of course, this isn't easy. Sometimes you'll wake up and the old voices will be louder. The doubts, the pressures, the noise from the outside world, and on those days especially, it's critical that you come back to this truth. You are not powerless. You are not a product of random fate. You are a creator. And even if your outer world hasn't caught up yet, your inner world can begin shifting the moment you decide to write a better story. One of growth, of courage, of quiet discipline. Every choice you make is a sentence. Every morning you rise is a new paragraph. And every time you silence fear and choose presence, you move the story forward. Don't just repeat yesterday's pages out of habit. Choose your words. Choose your mindset. Choose to believe that what you are building matters. You don't need permission to change. You don't need approval to evolve. All you need is the courage to speak truth to yourself and begin again. And when you do that, day after day, with intention and integrity, you will not only rewrite your own narrative, you will inspire others to rewrite theirs too. So stand up, breathe deep, and take hold of the pen. There is no better author for your life than you. And today, the story is yours to write. Most people go through life reacting to the moods of others, to stress, to delays, to things they can't control. They absorb everything around them like a sponge, and then wonder why they feel drained, why they're anxious, why they're stuck. But energy is not something you wait to receive. It's something you create. You generate it through your breath, through your thoughts, through your movement, through the words you speak to yourself. That's why the first few words you whisper into your own mind in the morning matter, because they are not just words, they are signals. Signals to your nervous system, to your emotions, to your actions. If you begin the day telling yourself, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I can't, then your body will follow. Your focus will shrink, your posture will slump, your enthusiasm will dim. But if you rise with the intention to command your energy, to shape it instead of letting it shape you, everything changes. You start to walk with purpose. You speak with clarity. You stop waiting for circumstances to improve before allowing yourself to feel powerful. Energy is not about loudness. It's not about being hyped all the time. True energy is rooted in presence. It's the ability to stay grounded when things are chaotic. It's the calm strength that radiates when you choose peace instead of panic. And that strength doesn't appear by accident. It is cultivated through the small choices you make every single morning. Do you reach for your phone, or do you reach for your breath? Do you rush, or do you move with intention? Do you let the world decide how you feel, or do you decide before the world speaks? And when it gets hard, because it will, you must remember, the most powerful person in the room is not the one who controls others. It's the one who controls their own energy, the one who doesn't hand it over to anger, to fear, to distraction. That kind of strength cannot be bought. It is earned daily in silence through awareness. You see, you can't always control what happens around you, but you can always control how you meet it. And how you meet it depends on the state you're in. That's why cultivating your energy every morning is not optional, it's essential. If you don't take charge of your inner space, someone or something else will. A comment, a headline, a stressful task, all of it will try to pull you out of alignment. And if you haven't grounded yourself, you will find yourself spiraling before the day even begins. So take your energy seriously, nourish it like a sacred fire, guard it like a gatekeeper, speak to yourself with power, not pity. Move your body, stretch, breathe deeply, hydrate, smile, say out loud the kind of person you are becoming. Feel it in your bones. Don't wait for motivation, build momentum with discipline. Let your actions remind you of your strength, even when your mind forgets. Because at the end of the day, no one is coming to save you from your own energy. If you want to feel calm, be the source of calm. If you want to feel powerful, act powerfully. If you want to feel alive, choose thoughts that awaken you. Your energy isn't something outside of you. It's something within you, waiting to be chosen every single day. So, tomorrow, when the sun rises and the world is still quiet, don't look outward for your strength. Look inward, breathe, center yourself, and then speak these words with clarity. My energy is mine to create, mine to protect, and mine to lead with. Because when you truly begin to live from that place, no obstacle can defeat you, only shape you. Discipline is what carries you through when motivation disappears. It's the quiet agreement you've made with yourself, the one that says, no matter how I feel, I will still show up. You see, feelings are temporary, but the impact of your actions is lasting. And when you wake up in the morning, it's not about asking yourself what you feel like doing. It's about asking yourself who you want to become. Because the person you want to be is shaped not by what you do once in a while, but by what you do consistently, especially when it's hard. The world constantly tells us to follow our feelings, to wait for the right mood, the perfect energy, the spark of inspiration. But those who achieve mastery, who build inner strength, who walk with clarity, they know something different. They know that greatness is forged in the moments when it's easiest to make excuses, but you choose to move anyway. You choose to train, to write, to study, to pray, to prepare, not because it feels good, but because it builds you. You must remember, it's easy to act when everything is going well. But what defines you is how you move when things are silent, when the rewards are not immediate, when no one is watching. Discipline is built in these moments. It's the choice to take the next small step, even when the finish line feels far away. It's trusting that your consistency will carry you through storms, through doubt, through boredom, through fatigue. When you wake up, don't give power to the voice in your head that says, maybe later. That voice is not your friend. It wants comfort, but comfort is not what leads to growth. Growth lives on the edge of discomfort, in the repetition of doing the hard things again and again until they become your new standard. Discipline teaches your mind to obey your purpose, not your emotions. And let's be honest, it won't always feel rewarding. Sometimes discipline feels boring, sometimes it feels thankless. You won't see results right away, but just like a seed under the soil, your efforts are doing invisible work. They're building roots, they're setting a foundation, and one day, those actions will bloom into something undeniable. But you'll only get there if you stay the course. That's why your morning matters. That's why your routines matter. They are not just rituals, they are declarations. Each repetition is you telling yourself, I am worth the effort. There's a kind of peace that comes from knowing you kept your promise to yourself. You didn't betray your path. You didn't wait for ideal circumstances. You simply chose to rise, and that peace, that quiet pride, it becomes your power. Discipline is not about harshness. It's not about punishment. It's about love, the kind of love that says, I believe in my future enough to act for it today. So when the alarm goes off, when the air feels cold, when your body begs to stay still, don't negotiate. Don't overthink, move, rise, begin, trust the process. Your mind might resist at first, but once you begin, something unlocks. You begin to feel the strength building. You begin to feel the alignment. And slowly, without fanfare, your identity shifts. From someone who tries to someone who does. From someone who waits to someone who leads. This is how you shape a life you don't need to escape from. Not with big leaps, but with quiet daily discipline. Not with loud motivation, but with steady, sacred action. So tomorrow morning, don't wait for motivation. Create momentum, move with discipline, and let your commitment speak louder than your excuses. It sounds simple, but living this truth is not easy. We are social beings. We are wired to connect. But connection should not come at the cost of authenticity. When you wake up each day with the need to be validated by others, you unconsciously shrink parts of yourself. You filter your words, you suppress your thoughts, you silence your instincts, you trade your truth for comfort. And every time you do this, you drift further from who you really are. When you begin your day with the pressure to please, you hand over your peace to the outside world. Suddenly, your worth is tied to someone else's mood, someone else's response, someone else's interpretation. But freedom begins when you realize you are not here to perform. You are not here to meet every standard. You are not here to be universally understood or endlessly praised. You are here to live your truth, even if that truth doesn't fit neatly into what others expect. There will be people who misunderstand you, people who misjudge you, people who want you to stay small so they feel more comfortable. That's okay. That's not your burden to carry. Their opinion is not your identity, and your job is not to convince them. Your job is to walk in integrity, to speak from alignment, to act with awareness. When you stop trying to be liked, you start becoming real. And the more real you become, the more magnetic you are not to everyone, but to the right ones. It's in that quiet space of letting go that you finally begin to hear your own voice. You begin to trust your own decisions. You realize that peace doesn't come from external applause. It comes from inner clarity. It comes from knowing that you're not betraying yourself just to keep the peace with others. And that clarity makes you powerful. Of course, it will feel uncomfortable at first. You might feel guilt. You might feel fear. You might feel the ache of walking away from certain circles or relationships. But with every boundary you set, with every moment you choose honesty over approval, you reclaim a part of your spirit. You begin to remember who you were before the world told you who you had to be. It's important to know this. When you choose to honor yourself, some people will leave, and that's not a tragedy. That's alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Some are only there to reflect the lessons you need to learn. Lessons about trust, about limits, about strength. And as you evolve, the people who resonate with your truth will naturally find their way to you. You don't need to beg, force, or chase. So start your mornings not with a desire to be accepted, but with a commitment to be honest. Honest with your needs, your dreams, your boundaries, your growth. Be kind but firm. Be open but rooted. And most of all, be free from the illusion that you must water yourself down to fit into someone else's world. You are not here to be everyone's favorite. You are here to be whole. You are here to stand in your light, even if some turn away. Because the ones who are meant to stay, the ones who truly see you, they will stay because of your truth, not despite it. So tomorrow, when the voices begin to rise, when the fear of being misunderstood returns, pause, breathe, and remember, you were not born to be liked by everyone. You were born to be real, and nothing is more powerful than a person who no longer needs approval to be at peace. Most people want change, but few are willing to walk through the tension it requires. They want peace, but avoid the work it takes to build it. They want strength, but resist the very weight that would shape it. Yet growth doesn't happen in moments of ease. It's born when we sit with discomfort without fleeing from it, when we choose not to retreat just because something feels hard or unfamiliar. You see, there is a reason why pressure exists. It reveals. It exposes the places inside of us where we've been holding back, hiding, or playing small. Discomfort has a way of bringing the truth to the surface. It tells you where your limits are, but also where your potential begins. And that's why, when discomfort shows up in the morning in the form of fatigue, fear, or hesitation, you must not run from it. You must lean into it gently with awareness. Your mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will tell you that discomfort is a sign to stop, to delay, to protect. But that same mind has been shaped by patterns, by repetition, by survival, not necessarily by truth. And sometimes the thoughts that feel safe are actually the ones holding you back the most. So, when discomfort appears, instead of asking, "How can I avoid this?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Each difficult task you face is like a doorway. On one side is who you are now, and on the other side is who you are becoming. But you don't get to meet that future version of yourself without walking through the fire of resistance. Whether it's a hard conversation, a new routine, a difficult decision, or simply the courage to keep going, each of these moments is a silent invitation to evolve. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. Growth often hides in the quiet. It happens when you wake up and do the thing you said you would do, even if no one is watching. It happens when you speak truthfully, even if your voice shakes. It happens when you show up for your own healing, even if it hurts. These are the moments that shape you, not all at once, but slowly, steadily, with every small choice to stay present in the discomfort rather than numb it, ignore it, or run from it. The world will tell you to seek ease, to avoid friction, to chase what feels good. But the deeper path, the one that transforms you, asks you to step forward even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because on the other side of that discomfort is your clarity, your strength, your discipline, your inner freedom. And what's more, the more often you face discomfort, the more you build trust with yourself. You begin to realize you are capable of handling far more than you once believed. Fear shrinks. Confidence grows not because life becomes easier, but because you stop retreating every time it becomes hard. You meet life with open hands instead of clenched fists. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. You become the condition. So, when you feel the tension rise, when your muscles ache, when your mind resists, when your emotions stir, pause for a moment. Breathe and recognize that this is not the enemy. This is not a wall. This is the edge of who you were, meeting the doorway to who you're meant to be. And it is in that very moment when most people choose to quit that you have the opportunity to break through. Because discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to grow. And if you can learn to sit with it, to breathe through it, to act in spite of it, then no part of you remains stuck in the past. You become someone who transforms pain into power, pressure into purpose, and resistance into the rhythm of your own evolution. The mind listens to your voice more than any other. It listens when you speak softly to yourself in thought. It listens when you make passing comments like, "I can't do this," or "this day is going to be hard," or "nothing ever changes." And over time, your subconscious begins to accept these statements as facts. It begins to filter the world in a way that confirms what you keep saying. And so the cycle begins: thought, word, reality. But the moment you become conscious of this, everything can shift. Words are like seeds. What you plant each morning eventually grows into how you feel, how you act, and how you live. If you plant complaints, negativity, and doubt, you will walk through the day carrying those emotions. But if you plant strength, intention, and gratitude, you will begin to feel supported, even when the circumstances remain the same. You don't have to wait for the outside to change before you shift the inside. It begins with language. This is why you must become very deliberate with the first things you say to yourself. Don't begin with defeat. Don't say, "I'm already tired," or "this is going to be a long day," or "I hope I can make it through." Those may feel like harmless phrases, but they are heavy. They carry a frequency that lowers your state, that clouds your judgment, that quietly drains your motivation. Instead, even if you don't fully feel it yet, speak with power. Say, "I'm ready." Say, "I've overcome worse than this." Say, "Today is a chance to move forward." Speak it not because it's perfect, but because it's possible. Speak not to convince the world, but to reawaken your own spirit. The body responds to language, the posture you carry, the tone you speak in, even the strength in your hands. It all shifts when you use words that elevate you